So, it seems my video got feedback, and this was sort of what I was expecting since it's the biggest take on my channel to this date. So how about I make a short little video explaining some of my thought processes throughout making it? Because there's a lot of, issues with the video that I'm aware of. Others are just, plain stupidity that I have to point out. So yeah, enjoy. Number 1, the title. The title seems to have thrown a lot of people off. It's also what got me a 30-second average view time. The main reason I named it that way was because it's all I had in mind when titling it. There was nothing else that sounded catchy or whatever, so I went for something that would grab the viewer's attention and keep them hooked. And also kind of makes sense. Which falls under the line of clickbaiting, but the meaning behind it can be a bit arbitrary in terms of having a final and definite meaning in the content creating space. Because people use, clickbaiting as, a very, boogeyman word, but every single, content creator clickbaits the viewer into clicking the video. Because you've got to understand, right? Content creators wouldn't be a thing if people weren't, tempted to click on the video. If they weren't baited to click on the video, content creators wouldn't exist in the first place. The main thing content creators strive on is views and attention. So if the video is able to grab attention, then they're doing the right thing. Now, if you were to say, falsehoods and whatnot in your video, that would be a bad type of clickbaiting. Anyways, let's move on to the second thing, which is the objective. The whole point of this video was to state my opinion of why Genshin has been falling off of it. And what I mean in this context is in terms of updates. They've been slow, they've been boring, and they sometimes have been terrible. Now this ain't just my opinion, this is the opinion of many people who are unsatisfied with the game. And this doesn't mean that Genshin isn't my type of game. I played lots of open world games, I played lots of hard difficulty games. If Genshin was just more engaging, kinder to its community, it wasn't a huge mess when it came to all the missions and whatnot, this is a personal thing, I would probably be on the game before making this video. And I also just need something to go for. Every method of earning primas in that game is so boring and so lackluster for what I've seen. I just, don't feel like dealing with that. I will gain nothing from it. Spiral Abyss is the only thing in the game that you can, pretty much beat, and you can pretty much, beat it with 4 stars. Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, Golden Gear, Swarm Disaster, that is stuff that I can go for. Nothing in that game is enticing to the point where I want to beat it, and, I have a motivation to do so. Plus, it's also like I said in my video. If you say something enough, people will catch on. And also, like I said, every game has its slow periods, but this game has been in a slow period for an unacceptable amount of time, and they're still making money from it. That is my biggest problem with the game. Some of these problems are personal, and yes, I get that. To each their own. But others were collectively fought by the community, and these are the problems that need fixing. And this isn't just me saying stop playing Genshin, but this is me saying do something about it if you want to have a better game. It is a very simple old way of saying to get change happen, but from what I've seen, it works in this community very well, but some people just don't understand that. What I'm trying to accomplish here is to get my voice out there so people will be a little bit encouraged. Even though I'm a small channel, they'll be encouraged to spread that on to other people. You think you're just gonna get change overnight if you do 72 hours of a boycott and then just give up? No, of course not. Actually put effort and say what you want to say. Don't be scared and whatnot just because other people are putting fear into you. Because you gotta understand, what they're trying to scare you away from is what's effectively going to change the game. A game that's a very good example of this is Honkai Impact. It's a very rough game, you could even say it has more rough edges than Genshin. So then, why do I put my time into the game? Well, it's because they learn from their mistakes and keep improving and changing things. This is all also probably because of the community feedback, which is another thing Genshin is terrible at listening to. And you can see this in the game. I left the game for a few months because I wasn't able to use my own characters in the story that much, which makes a bit of sense sometimes, but other times seemed very unnecessary. So I played the game a tad bit and they finally overcome that issue. They find a balance in between using the characters that you're supposed to use sometimes and using characters that you want to use other times. I hated the controls for the game. Now there's 2 types of controls. Although it took them 7 years to do this, it was still done. Now here are the 2 big problems. 1. The people that speak their voice are often silenced, and in this case, when I tried to say that, people probably didn't even get to that part of the video. And 2. These updates were way too slow to happen, so if Hoververse shows that they are paying attention, then I wouldn't be making this video or the one prior to this video to begin with. Also, back on the topic of not watching the video, can we talk about how most of the comebacks were revenue? I say comeback because the only time I mentioned money in the video was content creation stuff, and how the good suggestions from the community could lead them to making more money, and how sponsorships are and whatnot. Now here's the thing, Genshin caters towards their new player experience more than their old players, which is probably why when I log in, I hate it. But if a new player signs up and starts, they might like it because of how nice the game is treating them in the beginning. I would feel the same way too. And just because a game makes more money doesn't mean it's better off the rip. A good example of this is Roblox. Let me cook here a bit, please. Lots and lots of Roblox games can be garbage fires and still earn more than games that are more deserving. For example, games like Bloxfruits earn more than lots of other games on that platform. Idle Gamble games earn more, etc. These are all games with tons of players, but the games are still shit. And again, if you play the game, it's not an issue. The main issue is how you're treated for playing it by the developers. Do you seriously want to continue to defend a game that's watching as you defend them, instead of actually adding good quality of life changes? Now here comes another question. Do I regret what I said? Absolutely fucking not. I thought to myself that this either goes really well in terms of good feedback, really good in terms of bad feedback from Genshin stands, really bad, or doesn't have any sort of growth. And since a lot of the people saying the same thing about Genshin being a higher grossing game are popping more and more into my comments, I'd say this was an obvious huge success for me. But one comment that really stuck out to me was not enough time was truly put into making this video. Yeah. It is an idea I had for a while, but as stated by them, not enough background research was put into the topic for me to make a video about this. So, it did seem like kind of a bit of a mess at times. I am sorry and I will improve in the future when it comes to videos like this. If you are the commenter and you see this, then thank you for the excellent feedback. You're one of the only messages that's not only positive, but also just like not catering towards me and actually has improvement on this channel in mind. So thanks. On that note, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.